Welcome to Brain Secrets in the Age of the Brain. Research, especially during the last decade, is regularly uncovering interesting bits of information about brain function that I like to call brain secrets. Here is one of them. Maken Nedergaard, PhD, a Danish neuroscientist, led research that discovered a system that is designed to drain waste products from the brain. Cerebrospinal fluid, a clear liquid surrounding the brain and spinal cord, moves through the brain along a series of channels that surround blood vessels. The system is managed by the brain's glial cells. So, Dr. Nedergaard named it the glymphatic system. Glial cells are personal assistants to the neurons in the brain. They make neurotrophic food for the neurons to eat, remove waste products, and try to repair damaged neurons. The neurons depend on those glial cells totally. In about 20% of individuals who developed AIDS, the HIV, human immunodeficiency virus, damaged the brain. Studies eventually showed that HIV attacked the glial cells, not the neurons. When the glial cells died, so did the neurons. Their support system was gone. The glymphatic system is able to help remove the toxic protein known as beta amyloid, well known for accumulating in the brains of patients with Alzheimer's disease. Previous studies discovered that levels of beta amyloid tend to fall, to decrease during sleep. In this study, researchers tested the idea that sleep might affect beta amyloid waste disposal by impacting or regulating the glymphatic system. They found that there is a link between the amount of sleep the brain receives and the effectiveness of the glymphatic system's ability to remove beta amyloid from brain tissue. Fascinating. Now, Asia Hudson, assistant producer of Brain Secrets, Ask Dr. Taylor, and videographer Grant Gilmore have more questions from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm so glad you're back again, Asia, on this side of the camera.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
And we are talking about, today, your trip to Atlanta.
Yep. Back to Atlanta, back to my home roots.
So is there something about that environment, something that happened while you were there that either made you nostalgic or affected you in some way?
The heat.
The heat.
The heat is, I can't say it enough. The heat is the only thing that affected me. I don't really have a nostalgia for Atlanta in the way that I feel like I used to. So much of my life has moved to LA, so there's not much in Atlanta that I miss doing. And some of the things that I do miss doing are no longer there because of
Things change.
Things change. You know, my favorite thing to do was when I went back was to go to this Krispy Kreme on the corner, and it burned down 3 years ago, so I can't go there anymore.
No Krispy Kreme.
I know, yeah, no Krispy Kreme. It was like a late night thing. I used to always do it, so I don't really have any nostalgia, especially because everything is so different now. Where I stay looks different. The people that live there are different, so it doesn't really feel like my home in the same way as it used to.
Well, home is where your heart is and where the people that you really care about are close to you. Right. So yes, I've moved, by the time I was 18, I'd moved 11 times.
Oof, that's a lot.
And I've learned that you carry your home with you and you share it with people, and it really doesn't matter what locale you're in.
Yeah. Luckily, my home is also the cameraman.
Yes.
There it is.
Yes.
So it's fine.
I keep thinking you got this big crush on the cameraman.
A little crush.
A little crush. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Well, up it to a big crush because he's. I love working with him. He's an excellent videographer, and I just don't want to do these without him. So
Yeah, I agree.
got to keep him happy.
Yeah, happy. Yeah.
Speaking of Grant,
Mm-hmm.
I don't usually remember my dreams. If I'm thinking that I want to remember something, I'll put paper and pencil by the bed or something so that because you've only got a few seconds after you wake up and have been dreaming to bring that into conscious awareness. But I woke up this morning and I was dreaming that I had said to Grant, like I usually do, Grant, are you ready to roll the videos so we can see it? And he said, no. And I thought, oh my goodness, he's always ready. What if he said no? I guess you and I would just keep talking.
Yeah, we would just ramble on. We'd find something to talk about, I'm sure.
I know. So, shall we roll the tape?
I would love to.
All right. Okay, Grant. I'm scared to ask him. Are you ready to show us the other videos of Atlanta?
Nope.
I knew it.
Of course.
I knew if I put it in his brain that he would say no. Oh my goodness.
And we were just doing all that complimenting of him.
I know.
We should take it. We should take it back.
Well, since you had so many compliments for me, it's ready to go.
There it is. Okay.
There you go. Thank
Flattery.
you. I can hardly wait.
What's up, y'all? My name is Asia Corinne, and welcome to another episode of Ask Dr. Taylor, where we take to the streets and ask random people questions about brain function. Then we take those questions and send them back to the desk of our world-renowned brain function specialist, Dr. Arlene R. Taylor, PhD. Today, we are in Atlanta. And surprise, surprise, it's the 4th of July, America's Independence Day. So let's see if people want to liberate themselves of questions on their mind for you, Dr. Taylor. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Let's ask these people. That's so funny. Get that. That is hilarious.
Somebody's out playing with automatic
I'm going to ask them. Hey, y'all, can I ask you a question real quick?
What's the question?
The question is, if you could ask a brain function specialist a question about the brain and how the brain functions, any question, what would you ask her?
Wow. I don't know. How does memory loss begin, and how can we solve that?
Oh, awesome. And then, do you want to follow it up?
How do you get rid of Alzheimer's?
Oh, that's a really good question. How do you get rid of Alzheimer's? Great questions. Thank you.
How does memory loss begin? And how can we solve that? Memory loss can begin with simple laziness. Failing to regularly give your brain challenging stimulation. Watching too much of television and movies where your brain is simply passively processing what another brain created. It can also occur after a traumatic brain injury, following an illness that attacks the brain, after experiencing a stroke, or after developing dementia. Expect to retain your memory. Avoid saying you are forgetful. Remove the words senior moments from your working vocabulary. Tell yourself, Fred or Frida, or your name, of course, you are recalling the information you want to retrieve. Living a healthy lifestyle is the best bet for hanging on to your memory. Give your brain the sleep it needs. Drink plenty of water. Eat healthy food in the most natural way possible, avoiding sugar, high glycemic foods, and overeating. Get physical exercise each day. Swimming, walking, chores. play word games, read books, learn to use a computer, and do complex searches. Take a fun course at the junior college, learn to play a musical instrument, and hang out with smart people. How do you get rid of Alzheimer's? Well, with what we currently know about brain function, the way to get rid of Alzheimer's is to avoid developing it in the first place. Some types of dementia can be prevented, and others can have their progression slowed down. Sometimes genetics is involved. However, genetics contributes only about 30% to how long and how well you live. 70% is linked with epigenetics, everything that is not genetics, including lifestyle. Living what I call a longevity lifestyle matters, and the sooner you embrace that, the better.
Hi, y'all. Can I ask you a quick question?
Well, it depends on what the question is.
It's a brain question.
Brain question.
The question is, if you could ask a brain function specialist a question about the brain, what would you ask her?
He's the brain person.
Are you the brain person? You're the right person to ask.
What is creativity?
Ooh, what is creativity? And then?
Well, I would love that too. How do you stay innovative? How does your brain stay innovative and creative and open and inclusive and not get closed?
Oh, awesome.
Is creativity an innate function, or is it something that can be taught?
Oh, that's a really good. Is creativity an innate function, or is it something that could be taught? Thank y'all so much. That was awesome. I will for sure. Thank you.
What is creativity? Is it an innate function or something that can be taught? Creativity involves transforming ideas, imagination, and dreams into reality. It involves making something new, not merely discovering something new. Creative solutions tend to be insightful, novel, simple, elegant, and generative, meaning one creative idea triggers another. Creativity involves an ability to see connections between different branches of knowledge where others cannot. Each brain is believed to be creative in some way, and yes, you can learn to be more creative. Improvisation involves creativity, and you can learn to improvise. If your brain bent or giftedness is in the frontal left brain quadrant, you may be creative in drafting budgets, making difficult business decisions, and making money. If in the lower left quadrant, you may be creative in repetitive accuracy, storing and retrieving data, and maintaining consistency. If your bent is in the lower right quadrant, the home of native musical ability, you may excel at music and dance, be able to play instruments by ear, prepare tasty food, and enjoy harmonious connections with people and nature. If your bent aligns with the right frontal quadrant, you may be artistic in any number of ways, from photography, sculpture, painting, inventing, and designing, to envisioning, composing music, and writing. You also may be somewhat non-conforming. Own your own uniqueness. Generally dislike rules, and exhibit an off-the-wall sense of humor, often finding that you are the only one laughing. Oh well. How do you stay innovative and open and inclusive? It begins in your brain with a mindset, a choice to be safely and appropriately open, inclusive, and innovative. It involves identifying your own fears and assumptions and learning to welcome hearing new perspectives or ideas. If you take lunch to work, rather than always eating alone or with the same person, Invite others to join you. Relax. Enjoy the conversation. Avoid arguing about anything. Arguing is simply one brain insisting that its opinion is right, and every brain is different. Be clear that no one person knows everything. Listen and learn. Expand your knowledge through diversity. All of these can help you grow more innovative, open, and inclusive.
Yes, hi, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. She was so sweet. Hi. Okay, so the question is, if you could ask a brain function specialist a question about the brain, what would you ask her?
Why are we horny?
What? I don't think Why are we horny? Okay, that's a good question.
Goodness. Oh, dear. Why are we horny? Well, if you're speaking of humans and not rutting animals, the term horny suggests an unusually high desire for sexual activity. Sex drive or libido is specific to each person's brain. Libido levels exist on a spectrum ranging from little or no desire for sexual activity to excessive sexual thoughts or actions. Libido is impacted by factors such as age, hormones rage in adolescence, higher testosterone levels in male overall, and testosterone rises in females at time of ovulation, physical health and typical energy levels, level of intimacy with the partner in males, and satisfaction with the experience in females, and level of negative stressors. What can trigger excessive sexual thoughts or actions? A mental health condition that produces mood swings of euphoria. Addiction to hormones and substances produced during sexual activity. Use of alcohol or stimulant drugs such as cocaine. Compulsive sexual behaviors and thoughts that are out of control and can interfere with everyday balanced living, work, and relationships.
Okay. So, Atlanta is very buggy. I don't know if you can hear the bugs. Should we ask the bugs for their opinion? Ooh. I don't know if you heard that, but that was sun thunder, possibly lightning, maybe fireworks. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, Dr. Taylor, surprise, surprise. Our cameraman actually has a question. Cameraman, what is your question?
Say.
All right, Arlene, so this is my question. You can't see me, I'm behind the camera, but I'm holding up all this camera equipment and I'm out here sweating, dying. It's the South. It's, it's very hot out here, very humid. And so my question is, what can being dehydrated and sweating and just being hot in general, what does that do to the brain? How can that affect the brain function? I guess that's it.
Great question, Dr. Taylor. If you could see him now, he is drenched in sweat. I'm sure that there's some sort of reference that I could show you. What is that video where that girl takes a chair and she's like, when she pulls a thing and it's water on her body? That is our cameraman. That is Grant currently. He's dying out here for you, Dr. Taylor. That's how important you are to us. But yes, his question is very valid. How does dehydration and heat and heat exhaustion affect the brain? Wow, I love it.
I regret, Grant, that you had to go through that experience to bring back all these great questions, but it is real. There is a temperature regulating system located in the brain's hypothalamus. When it gets too hot, it triggers sweating to cool you down. Losing sleep can decrease the rate of sweating, as can high levels of humidity. Being overweight or obese generates more heat and reduces the body's ability to cool down. If your temperature rises without you taking enough fluids, the cooling processes fail and you become dehydrated, which is ugly. Because as brain cells shrink, brain tissue pulls away from the skull, which is linked with an increased risk of dementia. Heat exhaustion can turn into heat stroke, a potentially serious side effect that can damage your brain's temperature regulating system. Heat stroke requires immediate medical attention. Body temperatures near 104 or 105 degrees Fahrenheit may cause seizures, along with mental confusion, unconsciousness, and even death.
And that wraps it up for another episode of Ask Dr. Taylor. We are honestly wrapping up at the perfect time because, yes, it's starting to rain. I'm feeling a little bit of rain right now, so we're wrapping it up at the right time. It is 4th of July. It is about to rain over fireworks. It's a whole thing. People are so nice. Day 2 in Atlanta was just as phenomenal as day 1. We are so excited to hear the answers you have to our questions. Look at all this dust swirling around. It's getting windy. Okay, well, it's not as dramatic as it was when I pointed to it the first time, but it is getting windy. So Dr. Taylor, we are excited to hear your answers and see you back at your desk.
Well, that was fun. I really enjoyed those questions, awesome. Asia. You pulled out some really good questions that made me think. I mean, questions are the fastest way to learn, and I have no problem with questions, but some are more interesting to me than others. Which question did you like?
There were a few that I really liked. One that took me off guard, which I'm sure you know which one that one is the horny question. That came from so left field. Nobody's ever asked us anything like that, so that really shocked me.
That was very funny.
And at first I was like, we're not going to put that in there. But then I thought, like, why not? That's hilarious.
It's real life.
Yeah, it's real life. Yeah, it's real life. And I think that my favorite question, though, for sure, was, is creativity something that can be taught or is it innate? And I really loved your explanation of it because you were saying that you can be creative artistically, you can be creative financially, you can be creative business-wise. And I've literally never thought about it like that ever in my life. I've always thought, like, if you paint or if you do film or if you do music, then you're creative. And if you do business and finances and other things like that, then you don't necessarily have creativity, but you have to be creative to structure.
To really make money.
Yeah.
Well, when you think about the brain, it's the size of your 2 fists about, but it's got 2 hemispheres and each one of those is divided in half. So you do have 4 chunks. They all work together, but you've got the chunks. And we're learning that although they work together, most people have what's called a brain bent, meaning one of those 4 chunks they use with less energy. And when you can match what you do, at least 51% of the time, with the type of activity that you use the least energy with, you can just fly. Mm-hmm. And yes, they all bring different skills to the table. And that's why every brain is creative in some ways. Even brains that are damaged are often creative in some way or another.
Yeah, I was really happy to find that out. I thought that was so interesting, and being in Atlanta was really nice, and it was our second day, and the traffic was a little bit slower on that side of Atlanta that we were on, and I was repping my Outcast t-shirt because of course I have to because we were in Atlanta, and the people were so nice. And normally I'm always telling you, oh, I was nervous. I was not nervous at all this time.
But part of that, Asia, is you've been doing enough of these that you're really building good skills.
Thank you.
Because my skills, I thought about that the other day. How would I handle that? And I could probably do it, but not with the ease and the grace that you do it, because that's not how my brain works.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm happy that that's what makes us the perfect team.
I think we're the perfect team. And of course, the other members of our team contribute. I don't want to leave them out, but You're the one that I see on the show with.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
So, anything else that you want to say about this episode?
that these Atlanta segments have been, I say this every time, but these Atlanta segments have been my favorite out of everything else I think that we've filmed.
They're actually very thoughtful questions.
They're so deep. They're so deep. And I'm proud that my city is showing out.
That's great. All right, until next time, take care of yourself. You're very valuable to me.
Thank you.
And I love doing this with you.
Awesome, me too.
And thank you, our viewers, for watching. Until next time, take good care of your brain. It is unique and irreplaceable. I'll have another brain secret to share with you on our next show. Meantime, be sure to give your brain all the sleep it needs. Let's do whatever we can to lower our risk for Alzheimer's disease.